Hi everyone, it's Laura, and I hope you're all doing well. So today I thought I would talk about a topic that has kind of been a hobby of mine lately. Probably what got me intrigued with reading about it and watching videos and shows about it is the show Tiny House. And so for those of y'all that don't know what I'm talking about, essentially people build houses on trailers, and so they can carry it around the nation or wherever, and they get away with not following a lot of codes because it's technically not a house, but they just live in really small spaces. And it's the idea of not owning things that don't bring value to your life, and we spend too much time inside when most of our time should be spent outside and things like that. Also, along with it comes you pay for it up front because you're buying the materials for it. Excuse me. You want to lay down? Thank you. And so one of the allures of owning a tiny house is that since you have to pay for the materials up front, you don't have a mortgage. Your bills aren't as high because a lot of them use solar panels. And so yeah, anyways, so I became really obsessed with the show, and I watched all of the episodes, and then it kind of led me to looking into videos on YouTube more, and then it kind of led me to other videos. And you know how it is watching videos on YouTube. 1 minute you sit down to watch one video, and then it's kind of like Netflix, and then like 10 hours later, I'm just kidding, not 10 hours, but like 10 videos later, you're still watching it. So that's kind of like what happened to me. And what it kind of opened my eyes to is the idea of minimalism, and not necessarily not owning as much stuff, which it kind of correlates to, but only owning things that, like I said, bring value to your life and that aren't negative or aren't just useless items laying around your home. And probably my first aha moment with this lifestyle was, so my dog, I leave her out and about. Whenever I leave the apartment, she can do whatever she wants. And so before I leave, though, there are certain things I know I have to pick up and put on a high shelf. So I know I have to pick up the remotes. I know I have to pick up the lighter I use to light my candles. And I was finding that I was spending 5 minutes every time I left my apartment picking these things up, when half of the things I didn't even use or didn't even care about. Literally, I would spend twice a day, I would pick them up, move it, and then put it back. It was just stupid. So anyways, so tiny house, minimalism on YouTube, combined with this realization that I in fact do have a lot of things that I don't use, that don't bring value to my life, and I was feeling that sense of clutter. I've never liked clutter my whole life, and I think part of that, my mom doesn't like clutter, so it kind of translated into me not liking clutter. So anyways, over the past couple months, I've started going through my clothes. I've been using up my cosmetics because I also don't want to throw away things just for the sake of not wanting multiple items. So for instance, having 4 bars of soap. Okay, I'm not going to throw away 3 bars of soap. I'm just going to use them all up and not buy another bar of soap until they're all gone. So little things like that, I've been trying to use up. My cosmetics, going through my clothes, and just things in general that are meaningless to me, that I just have, and that I just move from apartment to apartment to apartment for no reason. So anyways, this whole concept kind of opened my eyes to also incorporating this into other areas of my life. So incorporating it into my diet, which I started noticing. So for those of y'all who watch my videos or follow me on Instagram, you know I make a lot of smoothies. So I make at least 1 smoothie a day, if not 2. And so I started noticing, even in my smoothies, not that this is necessarily nutritionally a bad thing, but it's kind of just like, why? I was putting a bazillion things in my smoothie that why do I need to put 3 types of nuts in my smoothie? Like, why? You know, why do I need to do half non-dairy so like half almond milk and half water, and like, it's just simple things in my diet that I was just buying these things that weren't necessarily adding nutritional value to my diet. So with my food, I started decreasing not the variety, but the amount of variety I had at a given point. So for instance, literally at one point I had an entire shelf just full of different types of nuts and seeds. And not that that's bad, it's just kind of like, why? You know? And so I'm learning, incorporating this into my diet and into my lifestyle, this idea of minimalism, that it kind of takes out the unnecessary time spent on things that don't matter, at least in my opinion. Again, this is all from my viewpoint, but from my perspective, starting to follow this lifestyle of not just going to H&M because I'm bored and buying 5 new pairs of jeans. Like, what? Why would I do that? Just learning that the valuable things in my life aren't my items or my material possessions. They're the people, they are the experiences, they're my dog. Those are the things that matter to me. So not only was I putting my energy towards things that in my viewpoint didn't matter, I also was taking away time from the things in my life that I do value and that do matter. And I'm not saying that I don't still buy things on occasion, but I only buy things that I look at and I'm like, that is awesome and I love it. And it's going to bring value to my life. So I thought that I would kind of share with you my journey in this, just because I've learned that it's easier and more fun for me to make videos that are incorporating what I think is cool, not just what I think y'all think is cool, if that makes sense. So this idea of only consuming things and only purchasing things that will add value to my life, and trying to get away from the clutter. So anyways, it's a really long intro, so thanks for sticking with me through that. I just felt like I kind of needed to explain my journey and where I'm coming from in that regard. So probably the most influential part of this journey has been my diet. And so I thought it would be fun to give y'all a couple tips on how to minimalize your diet in a good way. And so let's get started. So probably the number one area that I've noticed a difference are the snacks and the itemized items. Does that make sense? So the specialty items, that's what I'm trying to say. So for instance, those are the items that you go into the store and it's an item that's way overpriced, but it's new and you have to try it. I used to think, oh, I'm a dietitian, I have to try it. That was how I justified paying $6 for kale chips. I'm a dietitian, I have to try it. Someone may ask me how it tastes, which is silly. So buying these specialty items that I would prefer to just make myself if I really want it. So for instance, those little cups of like chia pudding, or I'd said kale chips, granola, things like that. Things that are overpriced, that you may or may not finish all of it, that are processed in some way. I found that not buying those, not only in my opinion, is better for my budget. So I save money not buying them. I also think it's healthier for me to make those things my own, which I don't think anyone would necessarily disagree with me on that. So first, trying to limit the specialty items that really don't matter. Number 2 is looking for recipes that don't have a bazillion ingredients in them. So when you research a lot of recipes, there's typically maybe 1 or 2 spices or herbs that you don't have, or that are overpriced, or that are hard to find. And there's typically a multiple of a couple ingredients, so that you could substitute, instead of having chia seeds and flax seeds, just use chia seeds, things like that. That was just an example. So another thing I've been doing is researching recipes with 5 ingredients or less. So not only does it make the recipe quicker to make, it also, excuse me, and no, that was a cough, not a sneeze. A lot of times I cough and people say bless you, and I'm just like, no, I coughed, it wasn't a sneeze. And finding recipes with a smaller list of ingredients also increases the likelihood that you already have those items in your cabinet, in your fridge, in your freezer, or whatnot. At least that's what I've found. When you type in recipes with 5 ingredients or less, then typically you're going to have all those ingredients. So it makes it too easier for when you don't really know potentially what you're going to cook that night and you're just looking for recipes, so you don't have to go to the store or whatnot. So trying to limit the amount of ingredients in the recipes, which won't take away from flavor, it'll just not take as long to prepare. The third thing I've done, which I've already briefly mentioned, is to only have a few of the same category, if that makes sense. So only until you've used those up. So for instance, only having a few grain options until you use those up, only having a few seed options, nut options until you use those up, and then you can buy a different variety. And I've found that buying food this way decreases the chances of me having to, I hate throwing away food, but me having to throw away items because they went bad. Not that grains ever really go bad, but there are some items that, it's in the back or back of the fridge or back of the pantry or whatnot, and you just keep buying new ones and don't ever use that up until it gets to the point where you have to just throw it away, or you move out and don't want to bring it with you, so you just throw it away. So I mentioned the grains, I'd mentioned the legumes, or no, maybe I didn't mention the legumes. Same with like beans. Do you really need white beans, kidney beans, black beans, chickpeas, all these peas that are just beans that are overtaking your pantry? Just stick to 2 or 3 until you use those up and kind of go that way. Because I was finding that I had a ton of food. It wasn't that I didn't have food, but I had a lot of food that I had no intention of consuming. And it wasn't until I realized this, that like I'm buying quinoa, but I have a pound of brown rice in my cupboard, so just noticing things like that, kind of just going through your kitchen and pulling things that are in the back to the front so that hey, I have 10 pounds of black beans. I should use those before I buy new chickpeas. So yeah, hope that made sense. So probably the last most meaningful thing I've done in the kitchen is go through the kitchen items that I have and figuring out what I haven't used in the past year, what I never plan on using. Why does someone need 10 spatulas and 3 can openers? Just things like that I'm never gonna need 3 can openers or 10 wooden spoons. So minimalizing it to what you actually use, because I was the type of person, I would use the same kitchen items over and over again, but I was only using 50% of what was in my kitchen. So I've limited it to what I actually use, and it's been awesome. I love having empty spaces in my apartment, whether it's my kitchen and my closet, because I feel like, which this is kind of hippie-esque to say or whatever, I don't care, but I feel like empty space means that I have room to grow. Not in regards to things, but just in my life. I don't know, that's just kind of how I felt and how I view it. So anyways, I hope this video helped y'all out. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so I know to make more like it. And for those of y'all that didn't know, I came out with a book. It's called Healthy Veggie, and it's a dietitian's guide to a plant-based lifestyle, and I'm super proud of it. And so if you're looking for a guidance into increasing plants into your diet, or you just need a resource for certain vitamins and minerals, so what I've done is I went through all the vitamins and minerals, and I listed all the plant-based sources, and then exactly how much of it you need based on your age group and gender. So for instance, let's see. Let's do one that people wonder a lot about. Copper, fluoride, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, zinc. Let's do zinc. So for instance, zinc. So if you're consuming a plant-based diet, this gives you excellent sources for making sure that you have adequate zinc in your diet. And like I said, I did this with all the nutrients. So say for instance, you're pregnant and you want to know, am I getting enough zinc? And you can look at the item. So for instance, if you're pregnant and you're wondering if you're consuming enough zinc, then you have all the good sources, and it can help you out. And also what I did is I came up with a 7-day meal plan along with recipes, and then every meal plan has, oh, that's the grocery list. There's also a grocery list. So sorry, she wants her bone. Every day has the nutrient facts for that day, and every day is also now she heard me say bone, so now she's over here. Every day is an excellent source of all your vitamins and minerals. So if you consume a full day of my meal plan, then you're getting all the vitamins and minerals that you need for that day, which I think is pretty awesome because it gives you some examples. But I'm actually really proud of the recipes. There's 21 recipes, and they're all super yummy. So I'll put a link for this down below if y'all are interested. That would be awesome. And I'll be seeing you on my next video. Bye.